She cheated with my brother on our anniversary. Now she's crying at his funeral. While I watch, I'll never forget the smell. That's the weird thing, you know? When your whole world falls apart, you'd think you'd remember the big dramatic stuff. But what I remember most is the smell of those roses I was holding. 24 red ones, one for each hour I'd been thinking about getting home to her. Happy anniversary, baby. I'd been practicing saying it in the car. 5 years, half a decade with Scarlett Hayes. Well, Scarlett Morrison now, I guess. Was Morrison. God, I still can't get the tenses right even now. I'd left for that Phoenix conference 3 days early, took the red-eye back to surprise her. Our 5th anniversary. The wooden anniversary, if you believe in that traditional gift stuff. Scarlett always did. She'd been sending me texts all week about how much she missed me, how she couldn't wait for me to get home, how she had something special planned. Yeah, she had something special planned, all right. I unlocked our front door as quietly as I could manage. It was barely 6 in the morning. The house was dark except for a light upstairs, our bedroom. I smiled like an idiot, thinking she'd fallen asleep reading again. She did that sometimes, her Kindle propped on her chest, still lit up when I'd come to bed. The anniversary cake I'd ordered was sitting on the kitchen counter. Picked it up from the bakery on my way from the airport. Chocolate with raspberry filling, her favorite. I set it down next to the roses, imagining her face when she saw it all. That's when I heard it. At first, I thought maybe she was watching something on her laptop. But the sound was wrong, too real, too close. My stomach dropped before my brain even fully processed what I was hearing. I took the stairs 2 at a time. I don't even remember making the decision to move. My body just did it. The bedroom door was cracked open. Not much, maybe 3 inches. Enough. The world seemed to tilt sideways. My wife, my brother, my bed. Scarlett was wearing the white lace set I'd bought her from that boutique in San Francisco. The one I'd saved up for, the one that cost more than my car payment. The one still in the wrapped box in my suitcase downstairs because I hadn't had a chance to give it to her yet. Except she was already wearing it, and she definitely hadn't bought it herself. Michael saw me first. My older brother, the one who'd been my best man. The one who'd given that speech about how I was finally becoming a real man by getting married. He was on top of my wife in my bed, and when his eyes met mine over Scarlett's shoulder, he didn't even stop moving. He smiled. Actually smiled at me. "Jamie!" Scarlett's voice cracked as she twisted around. Her face went white. "Oh my God! James, wait!" I couldn't move. My hand was gripping the doorframe so hard I thought I might pull it off the wall. My blood had turned to ice in my veins, I swear to God. You know that phrase? It's not a metaphor. I literally felt cold from the inside out. "It's not what it looks like," Scarlett said, which has to be the stupidest sentence ever invented. She was scrambling off him, pulling the sheet up, like modesty mattered now, like I hadn't just watched her scream my brother's name. "Not what it looks like." My voice didn't sound like mine. "You're wearing lingerie I haven't given you yet. In our bed, with my brother, on our anniversary." Michael sat up, not even bothering to cover himself. "Come on, little brother. Don't be dramatic." Little brother. He always called me that. Even though I'm 32 years old, even though I'm taller than him now, even though I've been married and paying a mortgage while he bounced from job to job and woman to woman. Always little brother. "How long?" I heard myself ask. "James, please." Scarlett was crying now, mascara running down her face. Real tears. The kind she cried at sad movies. The kind I used to wipe away. "How long?" 6 months, Michael said. He was getting dressed now, leisurely, like we were chatting over coffee. "Maybe 7. It kind of blurred together. You know how it is." 7 months. I'd been planning our anniversary for 7 months. Scarlett had been planning this. My phone was in my pocket. I pulled it out with shaking hands, took 3 photos. Scarlett lunged toward me. "Don't! James, don't do this!" "Do what? Document my wife cheating on me? In my own house? That I pay the mortgage on?" "Our house," she said weakly. "My name, my down payment, my parents who co-signed." Each word felt like spitting out glass. Michael was fully dressed now, checking his watch like he had somewhere to be. "Look, Jamie, Scarlett and we didn't mean for you to find out like this. We were going to tell you eventually." "Tell me what?" He looked at Scarlett. She was still clutching the sheet, still crying, but something passed between them. Some silent conversation I wasn't part of. I'd never been part of it. "I'm pregnant," Scarlett whispered. The floor dropped out from under me. We'd been trying. For 8 months, we'd been trying to have a baby. Doctor's appointments, ovulation trackers, special vitamins, that whole folder of research I'd put together on fertility, the hopeful looks every month, the disappointment when it didn't happen. "Congratulations," I said. My voice was cold, dead. "When's the due date?" "James." "When?" "November," she breathed. "Early November." I did the math in my head. Conceived in February. We'd gone to that Valentine's weekend in Napa. She'd been so affectionate, so loving. I'd thought maybe this was it. Maybe this was finally our month. She'd been with him then, too. Probably before. Probably after. "It might be yours," she said desperately. "We don't know yet. We'd have to—" "It's mine," Michael interrupted. He looked pleased with himself, proud. "She was with me more than you that month. Face it, little brother. Your boys just weren't swimming fast enough." I felt like I was going to be sick, actually going to vomit right there on the hardwood floors we'd refinanced the house to install. "Get out," I said to Michael. "This is getting good." "Get out!" I'd never screamed like that before. The sound tore out of my throat, raw and animal. "Get the hell out of my house before I call the cops for trespassing." Michael held up his hands in mock surrender, grinning that same smile from when we were kids and he'd broken my toys just to watch me cry. "Fine, fine. Text me later, Scar." Scar. He called her Scar, like he had a pet name for my wife. After he left, Scarlett and I stood there in our bedroom, the bedroom where I'd carried her over the threshold 5 years ago, where we'd painted the walls pale blue together because she said it was calming, where we'd made love, or where I thought we'd made love, 1,000 times. "I never meant to hurt you," she whispered. "But you did it anyway. For 7 months. You did it anyway. I love you, James. I do. Michael he makes me feel. I don't care." I cut her off. "I don't care what he makes you feel. I don't care about your reasons. I want you out." "This is my home too." "No, it's not. Not anymore. Pack a bag. Go stay with him since you're having his baby. I'll have my lawyer contact you about the divorce." "Divorce?" She looked genuinely shocked, like I was being unreasonable. "James, we can work through this. Couples therapy. We can—" "There is no couple. There hasn't been for 7 months, apparently. You just forgot to tell me." I turned to walk away. The roses were still in my hand somehow, crushed now, petals falling on the floor like drops of blood. "The cake's downstairs," I said without looking back. "You and Michael can enjoy it. Happy anniversary, Scarlett." I grabbed my suitcase from the doorway, still packed, still holding the real lingerie gift, and walked out of that bedroom for the last time. Behind me, I heard her start to sob. Real, ugly crying, the kind that shakes your whole body. I didn't care, not anymore. Would you have stayed to hear her out, or walked away like I did? Drop a comment below. 3 months. That's how long it took for everything to completely fall apart. Or maybe it was already apart and I just finally saw the pieces. I'd been staying at a Holiday Inn Express for the first 2 weeks. Yeah, I know. The guy who owns the house ends up in a cheap hotel, while his cheating wife and brother probably ordered takeout in my kitchen. But I couldn't be there. Every room smelled like betrayal. My buddy Dave let me crash in his spare room after that. Dave's been my friend since college, stood next to Michael at my wedding. He didn't say, "I told you so," even though he'd pulled me aside at the reception and said something felt off about how much Michael kept touching Scarlett during the photos. I should have listened. "So what's the lawyer saying?" Dave asked me one night over beers. We were sitting on his back porch, trying to watch some game I couldn't focus on. "That I'm screwed." I took a long drink. "Scarlett's fighting the divorce, says she wants to work things out. Her lawyer's claiming temporary insanity or some crap. What about the house?" "That's the fun part." I laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. "Remember how we refinanced last year? Got that better rate?" "Yeah." "She forged my signature on a second refinance 3 months ago. Took out another $100,000 in equity." Dave's beer stopped halfway to his mouth. "She what?" "I didn't know about it until my lawyer pulled the records. The money's gone. Vanished into some joint account with Michael that's now empty. They've been planning this." The thing is, I'd started noticing weird things once I actually looked. Bank statements I'd ignored because I trusted her. Her new car, the BMW, she said, was a lease deal. Michael's sudden ability to pay rent on that downtown loft after being broke for years. The expensive dinners they'd post on social media, tagging each other but never me. I'd been blind, or stupid, probably both. "You filing charges?" Dave asked. "Lawyer says it's complicated because we're married. Might be considered marital assets or something. But yeah, we're trying." My phone buzzed. Mom. I'd been avoiding her calls. Michael was her golden child, always had been. Successful Michael, charming Michael, Michael who could do no wrong even when he'd stolen from her purse as a teenager. "You should answer that," Dave said gently. I did. Mistake. "James, honey, when are you coming home?" Mom's voice was thin, worried. "Scarlett called me crying. She says you won't talk to her." "Mom, did she tell you why?" "She said you had a fight. That you're being unreasonable about Michael staying there temporarily." "Temporarily?" I stood up so fast my chair scraped concrete. "Mom, she's been sleeping with him. They're having a baby together. She forged my signature to steal our money." Silence. "James, that's not—" "Michael wouldn't." "Michael would. Michael did." I was pacing now. "He was in my bed with my wife on our anniversary. I walked in on them." "Well," Mom's voice got cold, "maybe if you'd been a better husband, she wouldn't have needed to look elsewhere." I hung up. My hands were shaking. "She didn't believe you," Dave said. It wasn't a question. "She never believes anything bad about Michael. When he stole my college fund to pay off gambling debts, it was borrowing between brothers. When he totaled my car, it was an accident. When he—" I stopped. Sat back down. I'm done. I'm done with all of them." But I wasn't done. Not really. Because 2 days later, my lawyer Rebecca called with a meeting request. "You need to see this," she'd said, "in person." Her office was downtown, one of those glass towers that always made me feel small. Rebecca was good, though. Ruthless, thorough, exactly what I needed. "I hired a private investigator," she said, sliding a folder across her desk. "Your brother has an interesting history." I opened it, started reading. Michael Patrick Morrison, age 37, 3 bankruptcies, multiple restraining orders from ex-girlfriends, gambling debts with some very unpleasant people in Atlantic City. a sealed juvenile record that the investigator managed to unseal. Assault charges dropped because Mom paid off the victim's family. Jesus, I whispered. There's more. Rebecca pulled out another document. Your mother's finances. Someone's been withdrawing cash from her accounts. Small amounts, regular. Started about 8 months ago. Let me guess. Michael has power of attorney. He convinced her to sign it over last year. Said it would be easier for him to help manage her bills since she's getting older. Mom was 71, sharp as ever. She didn't need help with bills. How much has he taken? 40,000 so far, that we can prove. I felt sick again. That familiar nausea I'd been living with for 3 months. And Scarlett knew, Rebecca continued. The investigator found text messages between them. She encouraged him, talked about your mother's money being their retirement plan. Show me. She pulled up screenshots on her laptop. Messages between my wife and my brother, going back almost a year, before the affair started. Or maybe that's when it started, with planning how to take everything I had. Michael. Your husband's so clueless, LOL Scarlett. I know. He still thinks we're trying for a baby Michael. That baby's gonna be my meal ticket. Scarlett. Ours. Don't forget the plan, Michael. Yeah. You keep him distracted. I'll work on Mom's will. The will. Oh God, the will. She changed it, didn't she? I asked. Mom changed her will. Rebecca nodded. 3 months ago. Everything goes to Michael now. You're mentioned for $1,000. For sentimental purposes. 35 years of being the good son, the one who called every week, who drove her to doctor's appointments, who spent every Thanksgiving and Christmas making sure she wasn't alone after Dad died. $1,000 for sentimental purposes. There's one more thing, Rebecca said. Her voice changed, got softer. Your brother was in a car accident yesterday. The room tilted. What? He's in critical condition at St. Mary's. Your wife's been calling you. She left 3 voicemails this morning. I pulled out my phone. Sure enough, 3 missed calls from Scarlett, 2 voicemails I hadn't listened to. A text. Please, James. He's dying. He's asking for you. What happened? I asked. Police are investigating. The car was run off the road. Witnesses say it looked intentional. Intentional? Rebecca showed me another document. Your brother owed money to some very dangerous people. The investigator flagged it as a potential issue. Looks like they caught up with him. My brother was dying. The brother who destroyed my marriage, stolen my money, manipulated our mother, planned to take everything I'd ever worked for. And apparently, I was supposed to care. I need to think, I said, standing. James. Rebecca caught my arm. Whatever you're feeling right now, don't do anything stupid. We're building a case. Fraud charges against both of them. Elder abuse for what he did to your mother. Don't give them ammunition by... I'm not going to do anything, I interrupted. I just need to think. I drove to the hospital anyway. Don't ask me why. Maybe I needed to see him one last time. Maybe I needed closure. Maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment. St. Mary's ICU was on the 4th floor. I could see Scarlett through the waiting room window before she saw me. She was visibly pregnant now, belly pushing against her shirt. She looked exhausted, broken. Part of me, the part that had loved her once, wanted to comfort her. The rest of me remembered those text messages. Your husband's so clueless, LOL. I pushed open the door. Scarlett looked up. James. She started crying immediately. Oh God, James, thank you for coming. I thought you'd... Where is he? Room 412. They're saying he might not make it through the night. Internal bleeding, brain trauma, his spine. She sobbed. It's bad, James. It's really bad. How did this happen? She wiped her eyes, smearing mascara again. She'd cried all her makeup off by now. I don't know. He was driving home from somewhere. He wouldn't tell me where. Next thing I know, police are at the door saying there was an accident. He was probably meeting with the loan sharks he owes money to, I said flatly. Her face went white. How did you? I know everything, Scarlett. The gambling, the debts, the plan to steal from my mother, the text messages about me being clueless. James, I can explain. Can you? Can you explain planning for months to destroy my life? Can you explain forging my signature? Can you explain encouraging my brother to steal from our mother? We were desperate. Her voice rose. Michael said if we could just get enough money together, we could start over somewhere. Be a real family. You and I. We were falling apart anyway. We weren't falling apart. You were tearing us apart. There's a difference. A nurse appeared in the doorway. Family for Michael Morrison? Scarlett grabbed my hand. Her palm was sweaty, desperate. Please, James. Whatever else happened, he's still your brother. He's dying. Don't you want to say goodbye? I looked down at her hand on mine. The hand that wore my ring. The hand that had touched my brother. The hand that had forged my signature to steal my future. I pulled away. Yeah, I said. I'll say goodbye. Would you visit the brother who destroyed your life? Let me know in the comments. The ICU room was cold. Hospitals always are, but this felt different. Like the temperature matched what was inside me. Michael looked bad. Really bad. Tubes everywhere. Machines beeping. His face was swollen, bruised, bandages wrapped around his head. One of his legs was elevated, held together with metal pins I could see through the bandages. I stood at the foot of the bed and felt nothing. Shouldn't I feel something? He was my brother. We'd shared a room growing up. He'd taught me to ride a bike. We'd been best men at each other's weddings. Or at least, I'd been his best man at his first wedding before that fell apart. But looking at him now, broken and dying, I just felt hollow. Jamie. His voice was weak, barely a whisper. His eyes fluttered open. You came. Don't call me that. He tried to smile. Even now, even like this, he managed that cocky grin. Still mad at me, huh? Mad doesn't even begin to cover it, Michael. Scarlett appeared at my elbow. She'd followed me in, was hovering like she thought I might attack him or something. Maybe she was right to worry. The doctors say, her voice cracked. They say it doesn't look good. Maybe a few hours. Maybe less. Good, I said. James. She looked horrified. What do you want me to say, Scarlett? That I hope he pulls through? That I'll pray for him? Why would I do that? Michael coughed, a wet, horrible sound. Blood flecked his lips. You were always self-righteous, he managed. Even as a kid. Always doing the right thing. Being good. Made me look bad. You made yourself look bad. Maybe. Another cough. But it was satisfying. Taking what was yours. Your wife. Your money. Your mother's love. His eyes fixed on mine. Everything you had. I wanted. And I took it. Something snapped inside me. Was it worth it? I leaned closer. Was destroying my life worth dying broke and alone? I'm not alone. He glanced at Scarlett. I have her. And the baby. The baby you'll never meet. The woman who was using you just like you were using her. James, that's not fair. Scarlett started. Fair? I rounded on her. You want to talk about fair? You forged my signature to steal $100,000. You encouraged Michael to steal from my mother, a 71-year-old woman with dementia. She doesn't have dementia, Scarlett said weakly. I pulled out my phone, opened the documents Rebecca had sent me. No? Then explain these medical records. Diagnosis from 6 months ago. Early stage Alzheimer's. Michael got her declared incompetent, took power of attorney, and started draining her accounts. The color drained from Scarlett's face. I didn't. He said she was fine. He said she wanted to help us. He lied, like he's been lying about everything else, like you've been lying. I loved you, she whispered. I really did, at first. But not enough to be faithful, not enough to be honest, not enough to think maybe stealing from my dying mother was wrong. Michael laughed, that same wet, horrible sound. So self-righteous. You think you're so much better than me. I am better than you, because I didn't betray the people who loved me. I didn't steal from my own mother. I didn't seduce my brother's wife. You were boring. Michael's voice gained strength, angry now. Boring job, boring house, boring life. Scarlett wanted excitement, passion, a real man, not some Boy Scout who couldn't even... The machines started screaming. Doctors and nurses flooded in, pushing me and Scarlett back. Someone was shouting orders. Someone else was grabbing equipment. It was chaos and noise and flashing lights. Then, as quickly as it started, it stopped. A doctor, young guy, looked exhausted, turned to us. I'm sorry. We did everything we could. He's gone. Scarlett collapsed, literally just dropped to the floor, sobbing, screaming. A nurse rushed to help her up, check on the baby. I just stood there. Michael was dead. My brother was dead. And I felt relieved. That's the part that scared me. Not sad, not angry anymore. Just relieved that it was over, that he couldn't hurt anyone else, that maybe now I could start putting the pieces back together. Sir? Another nurse was at my elbow, older woman, kind eyes. Are you all right? Yeah, I heard myself say. Yeah, I'm fine. Can we call someone for you? No, I'm good. I started walking toward the door. Scarlett was still on the floor, being checked by medical staff. She looked up at me through tears. Where are you going? She managed between sobs. Home. James, please, don't leave me like this. I just lost. We just lost. You lost nothing that was yours to lose. And I'm not leaving you. I left you 3 months ago. You're just noticing now. The baby, your nephew, He's not my nephew, I said coldly. He's your son, Michael's son. Nothing to do with me. I walked out before she could respond. In the elevator, my phone rang. Rebecca. I heard, she said. You okay? I'm fine. The police want to talk to you about Michael's accident, standard procedure for family members. I was at Dave's when it happened. He'll confirm. I know. I already checked. James. She hesitated. There's more. We found more evidence. About the fraud. About your mother. Tell me. Not over the phone. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning? Yeah, I'll be there. I hung up, sat in my car in the parking lot, and finally, for the first time since finding them together 3 months ago, I cried. Not for Michael, not for what we lost, for what was stolen from me, for the years I'd wasted, for the family I'd thought I had, but never really did. My phone buzzed with texts. Mom. Finally calling back after I'd told her the truth about Michael. I'm at the hospital. They say Michael's gone. We need to talk about the funeral. Scarlett needs support. She's carrying your nephew. James, answer me. This is family business. Family business. I deleted the messages without responding. I didn't want any part of their family business anymore. How would you handle this? Would you cut them all off or try to forgive? Comment below. Michael's funeral was on Thursday. Gray sky, light rain, the whole pathetic fallacy thing you see in movies. I almost didn't go. Dave said I didn't owe them anything, that I should just stay home and let them deal with their own mess. But I went. Not for Michael, not for Scarlett or Mom, for me, for closure. To watch the final chapter of this nightmare play out. The funeral home was nice. Too nice for what Michael deserved, honestly. Mom had spared no expense. I wondered if she'd use the money Michael had stolen from her to pay for it. The irony would be fitting. I stayed in the back, didn't sit with family, didn't sign the condolence book, just stood against the wall in my dark suit, watching. Scarlett was in the front row, obviously pregnant now, wearing black that was too tight. She kept crying into tissues that Mom kept handing her. Mom sat next to her, arm around her shoulders, comforting the woman who'd helped her son steal from her. Some of Michael's friends were there, the drinking buddies, the guys from whatever his latest failed business venture was. They looked uncomfortable, kept checking their phones, probably wondering when they could leave. The service was generic. Pastor who'd never met Michael talking about how he was loved by many and taken too soon, if he only knew. Then Mom got up to speak. "My son Michael," she started, voice shaking, "was a bright light in this world, charismatic, charming, always knew how to make people smile." I bit my tongue. He had his struggles, yes. What man doesn't? But he was trying. He'd found love with Scarlett. They were starting a family. He was finally getting his life together. I couldn't stay quiet anymore. He was stealing from you. Every head turned. The room went silent, except for the rain outside. "James." Mom's face went white. "This is not the time." "When is the time, Mom? When are we supposed to talk about the fact that Michael had power of attorney over your finances and drained $40,000 from your accounts?" Gasps. Whispers. Mom's face went from white to red. "That's a lie," she hissed. "I have bank statements. I have medical records showing he had you declared incompetent when you're perfectly fine. I have evidence that he forged documents to change your will." I pulled the folder from my jacket, held it up. "It's all here. Everything my lawyer found." "You had no right." "I had every right. He was stealing from you. He stole from me. He destroyed my marriage, my finances, my life. And you're standing up here talking about what a great guy he was." Scarlett stood up, unsteady. "James, please. Not here. Not at his funeral." "Oh, you don't want me to talk? Want me to stay quiet? Like I stayed quiet for 3 months while you two destroyed everything I'd built?" "It wasn't like that," she sobbed. "Then what was it like, Scarlett? Explain it to me. Explain the texts where you called me clueless. Explain forging my signature. Explain sleeping with my brother in our bed on our anniversary." More gasps. People pulling out phones, probably recording. This was going to be all over social media within hours. Good. "That baby," I pointed at her stomach, "was supposed to be mine. We were trying for months. And the whole time, you were with him. Planning to take everything I had." "James Morrison," Mom's voice cracked like a whip. "That is enough. This is your brother's funeral. Show some respect." "Respect?" I laughed, and it sounded insane even to me. "You want me to respect the man who ruined my life, who stole from both of us, who was going to leave you with nothing? He was my son. And I'm your son. I've been calling you every week for 35 years. I drove you to every doctor's appointment after Dad died. I spent every holiday making sure you weren't alone. And when Michael showed you his true colors, you blamed me. Because you drove him to it. You with your perfect life and your perfect marriage and your perfect job. My perfect marriage that he destroyed. My perfect life that he stole. Nothing was perfect, Mom. I just tried." That's all I ever did. I tried to be good, to do the right thing, and you punished me for it by loving him more." Silence. Mom was crying now. So was Scarlett. Half the room looked horrified, the other half looked vindicated, like they'd known all along something was off about Michael. "Get out," Mom whispered. "Gladly." I turned to leave, then stopped, looked back at Scarlett. "The police are going to arrest you," I said calmly. "For fraud, forgery, elder abuse. My lawyer has all the evidence. You'll be lucky if you don't lose that baby from the stress of the trial." Her face crumpled. "James, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake." "You made a choice. Every day for 7 months, you made a choice. Now live with it." I walked out. Behind me, I heard Mom screaming, Scarlett sobbing, people talking all at once. I didn't look back. The rain had picked up. I stood outside the funeral home, let it soak into my suit. My phone buzzed. "Rebecca." "Please tell me you didn't just do what Dave says you did," she said. "Depends what he said." "That you publicly called out your mother and sister-in-law at your brother's funeral." "Then yeah, I did that." She sighed. "Well, the good news is several people have already called me offering to testify. Apparently Michael owed money to half the people there. Your outburst might have actually helped our case." "And the bad news?" "Your mother's threatening to countersue. Says you're trying to steal her estate." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Let her try. I'm done, Rebecca, with all of them. When can we finalize my divorce?" "Scarlett's lawyer called this morning. She's willing to settle. Sign over the house, drop all claims, in exchange for you not pressing charges." "No deal. I want both. The house and the charges. She and Michael stole from me. They stole from my mother. They need to face consequences. That's going to be expensive. Legal fees, court costs. I don't care. I'll work extra shifts. I'll sell everything I own. But I'm not letting them walk away from this." "All right. I'll file the papers." I hung up, started walking to my car. "James!" I turned. Scarlett was standing in the doorway of the funeral home, holding her stomach. "What?" "Please." She walked toward me, unsteady in heels. "Please don't do this. Think about the baby. He didn't do anything wrong." "You're right. He didn't. But you did. And actions have consequences. I'll lose everything. My job, my reputation, maybe even custody. You should have thought of that before." "I loved you," she said desperately. "I know you don't believe me, but I did. I still do. We can fix this. We can—" "Stop." I held up a hand. "Just stop. You didn't love me. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done any of this. You loved what I provided. Stability, security, a house. But you didn't love me. That's not true. Did you ever even want kids with me? Or was that just part of the plan? String me along until Michael could get Mom's money?" She didn't answer. That was answer enough. "I hope your kid grows up better than his parents," I said. "I really do, because right now, he doesn't stand a chance." I got in my car and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw Scarlett collapse on the sidewalk again. Someone ran out to help her. I didn't stop. 6 months later. I'm sitting in Dave's spare room, my room now, officially, since I'm paying rent, reading the final verdict. Scarlett pleaded guilty to fraud and forgery, got 3 years probation, community service, and has to pay restitution. She lost the baby at 5 months. Stress, complications, the doctors said. Part of me felt bad about that. Most of me felt nothing. Mom's case was messier. Turns out Michael had forged her signature on a bunch of stuff, including the will. A judge declared it invalid, reverted everything back to her original will that split things equally between us. She disowned me anyway, changed it legally to leave everything to charity. I don't care. I never wanted her money. I wanted her to believe me, to choose me, just once. But she didn't. And I've made my peace with that. The house sold. After legal fees and paying off the fraudulent refinance, I cleared about 50 grand. Enough for a fresh start. I'm dating someone new. Amy. Met her at a coffee shop near my office. She's a teacher, likes bad horror movies, laughs at my stupid jokes. When I told her my story, she listened, said I deserved better, and we've been taking it slow ever since. She's nothing like Scarlett. She's real, honest, kind. She's everything I thought I had, but never really did. Dave's been pushing me to go to therapy. I finally went. Turns out carrying around this much anger and hurt isn't healthy. Who knew? The therapist, Dr. Miller, asked me if I felt guilty. About Michael dying, about Scarlett losing the baby, about cutting off my mother. I said no. She said that was okay, that I'm allowed to protect myself. That forgiveness doesn't mean letting people keep hurting you. I think about that a lot. I drove past Michael's grave last week. Didn't stop, didn't even slow down. There's a headstone there now, something Mom paid for. I'm sure it says something nice about him being a beloved son and brother. I'm not on it. I made sure of that. People ask me sometimes if I regret it, if I wish I'd handled things differently, been quieter, more forgiving, kept the family together. I tell them no, because the thing about betrayal is this: it shows you who people really are. Michael, Scarlett, Mom, they showed me exactly who they were, and I believed them. The best thing my brother ever did was show me who to cut out of my life. I'm not little brother anymore. I'm not the clueless husband or the overlooked son. I'm just James. And for the first time in my life, that's enough. I went to Michael's grave once, about a month ago, not to pay respects, not to forgive him, but to prove to myself I could stand there and feel nothing. I left something there. A photo. Me and Amy at Dave's barbecue, both of us laughing. My new business cards from the consulting firm I joined. A printout of my savings account showing I'd rebuilt everything he took. Under the photo, I wrote, "You wanted everything I had. Hope it was worth it." Then, I walked away. Sometimes the best revenge isn't dramatic. It's not a big confrontation or public humiliation, though I got those too, I guess. The best revenge is just living well, building something real, being happy. They took everything from me, and I built it back better. That's my closure. That's my ending, and I'm good with it. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away and let people face the consequences of their choices. You don't need to forgive everyone. You don't need to keep toxic family in your life just because they're family. You're allowed to choose yourself. Have you ever had to cut off someone you loved because they kept hurting you? Share your story in the comments. And if this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. I share real stories about real people every week. You deserve better than people who treat you like a backup plan. Remember that.